And so, hi, everybody. My name is Fernando. I'm the director of the Runway and Spin-offs program at Cornell Tech. In my job, which feels like an amazing job nowadays, I help very young, great entrepreneurs that are trying to build the next AI of the future, get funding and grow and build their companies. Since 2014, which is when our campus at Cornell Tech opened in Roosevelt Island, we have built 128 companies from scratch. Those companies have raised over $500 million in venture capital, are worth over $1 billion. All of them, every single one of them uses AI. So this is a topic that is very near and dear to what I do and to my heart is how do we use AI for competitiveness? And we have a great panel comprised of not just great people, but also some of our own portfolio companies, which is also great. So what we're going to do a little bit is I will let them introduce themselves because they'll do a much better job than I would ever do. Grant is going to help me be controversial. So in this panel, Grant is the controversial one. You know, I'm the moderator, and he's going to help us set the stage a little bit to talk about AI and competitiveness and do we need it and how do we think about AI. So let's get started first with Richard. Richard, please introduce yourself. What do you do? And if you can also tell us at the same time, where do you think we are? Where is the US right now in competitiveness and using AI?
Sure. My name is Rick. So right now I'm working for a company. It's called Graphen. It's just like, Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street. So, but the other thing I want to mention quickly is I'm alumnus of Cornell. So even though I'm not from the business school, but I'm from that school, but I always feel good. I'm part of the family. This is every day you learn something. This is the first time I know there's a building right here. I only know there's a medical school, but I never know this. That's great. So for me right now, I am a CTO at Graphen. So I have, first of all, I'm not the tag. I mean, basically I have 30 years in medical and drug discovery and development experience. I graduated from that school, Cornell, and then I go to Rockefeller and actually before I joined the industry, I was a faculty member at University of Michigan Medical School. I teach neurology. So I have a 7 years industry experience. So basically my research and the focus is movement disorder and also cognitive impairment. So you can think about how I think about human brain function and then put it into the artificial intelligence. So the most important, let me introduce my company. My company, just like I say, is nearby, and we are starting 2017. And our AI is graph-based. For those who doesn't know what is graph-based, basically you can think about you are part of the network, and I contact all of these, you are part of the network. And we are using this connection to solve a lot of things, for example, financial, and also the defense, for the national defense. So the core, actually the message is right here. We are doing everything possible using AI to do de-risk. And I will say why de-risk is so important. Actually, this is what I think about human life. Actually, every day you do is de-risk to make you to success, to go to the place that you wanted. Because without knowing what the risk can come from, you are worried, you are anxious, and you don't know how to control your life. So this is what we do. So think about right now, what we are doing right now, we are adding the drug discovery development. This is the de-risk. And also we are doing the healthcare system. This is also de-risk. And we are also building, everybody say, hey, once you learn AI, then you are going to be lazy because you are not challenging yourself. I will say this is totally opposite. How about we build the AI for the learning education platform, actually to challenge you, actually to, it's not, when I say education, it's not really just tell you, hey, this is how you do it. So we are building this platform, especially for the professional. To continue to grow, to continue to challenge themselves, in intelligence, because that's what I think. The AI should be your extension, not replacing you. So return to this. We always believe the AI we are building in the future should be human AI collaboration. It's not, we want 1 + 1 more than 2. Okay, this is what, and also we have the robotics agent is doing, because we need something to bring it to the physical world. So overall, what I'm saying is we try to build something is from the virtual and then bring it to the physical world. And we have digital human working right now. And we are using the robot try to do to apply all these actions to it. So right now, our headquarters is New York City. We do have office in Tokyo, Taiwan, Taipei, and Singapore. So.
Amazing. So the message here is the risking, the importance of using AI for the risking. And I thought Grant was going to be the controversial one, but then you also say AI is going to make us lazy, right? So let's think about that too. Is it really helping us or actually making us lazy and leaving us in a worse place in competitiveness? So let's go now with Chansam. So please introduce your company and tell us a little bit more about what you do, why is it relevant, and how you take a look at competitiveness, U.S. competitiveness in AI.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So before my intro, I actually really honored to have a guest speaker in here, especially the accomplished many leaders today. I really appreciate. So I'm Chansam, and actually I did the MBA in the Cornell Johnson School of Business last year, and unfortunately, we got a winning in the competition, startup competition, and we got funded by the Cornell University, and we have office. Thank you. We have an office in the Roosevelt Island. If anyone does not visiting there, I recommend to visiting now because they have a good cherry blossom trees, especially only these 2 weeks. So it'll be a good timing. You can visiting there. It is called Small Manhattan there. Yeah. Okay. Before my MBA, actually, I did quantum physics in Penn State around 15 years ago. And actually, as a researcher, I started my job in the semiconductor industry, but more like processing research in the optimize more stable quality. And meanwhile, I have opportunity to managing the AI product. Because semiconductor industry, it is so small, it's starting from the micron scale. Micron is micrometer, but probably some people might not familiar with the meter unit in here, but it's much, much smaller than your hair. But these days, they are becoming nanoscale, so it is really hard to control the quality, especially before they actually do the testing. So my first job as an AI researcher was that making a mathematical model for the qualification to determine how much failure can become according to the existing output from the manufacturing process. And semiconductor actually have more than 100 or 200 steps of the manufacturing. So it was so difficult to figure out what happened in between. So that was my job at the time. But meanwhile, I had to managing some strategic materials from the United States and some from the Germany, because my biggest customer was in the South Korea, Samsung and LG. And every time we had to bring the product in the some strategic material to the South Korea, we actually need to gather approval from the United States and the Germany to bring the specific materials, specific lasers, specific devices, which is like ASM or 2. So this kind of a working process, sometimes just for the compliance, it took a minimum to 6 months to the other 24 months, depending on your enterprise scale, how many lawyers you have. So, actually, I say that probably there are opportunity to the AI can solving this issue, because rather than asking the lawyers, we're spending millions of dollars to asking them to lead the document, suggesting something, but they are professional in the legal document, but they are not professional in the leading the specification. So coming back to the United States, dreaming to the making a startup in the AI industry, especially for the trade, global trade. So meeting the good a partner in the Cornell University. Also, I have another co-founder from the NYU or from the New York State. And we make our agentic AI tool for the trade people. But easy to say, you can connecting your database about global trade or any procurement document, purchase order, or any billing material, a bit of the materials. And our AI helping you to leading, rather than you leading or your lawyer leading the document, understanding what happened, especially after Trump administration. Sometime in a single day or sometime bi-weekly, there are new ruling coming out. But especially for the global entrepreneurs, they have to understanding the universal other countries' regulation too. In the EU, they have a heavy on the sustainability. China and South Korea and Japan, they more concerned about the natural environment regulations. So all those kinds of different type of regulation actually the bottleneck for the not only for the other global entrepreneurs, also in the U.S. business people. So we helping the business individuals to understanding not only the regulatory changes in the United States, also in the big other OECD countries, to optimizing their workflow and estimate their cost across the global wise. And about the U.S., the strength in the U.S. Actually, U.S. Compared to the other country, still relatively smaller in the export and import compared to the GDP, because it is only around 10 to 20%. But if we compare with the other country, even the only 10% of the GDP is still higher than all other countries besides of China. So you have to have a strong background, not only for the domestic, also outside against to the other country in the export side. And since this US have a strong capital power, so even though we have some limitation on the manufacturing from the like raw material to the end product, but if we leveraging on the allied supply chain and the other connection global across the world, actually there are many opportunities you can export not only for the like a pure physical good, also as a service, especially for the service type, like fintech or AI services and platform or logistics consulting. Those kind of services keep increasing across the world. So there is another opportunity if you have some insight or you can see some company working in the US. Actually, you can implicate that kind of some business method to the other country. I think that that is the biggest advantage in the US.
I'm just gonna say for SAIL, which is the company that we invested as Cornell Tech our investment was very simple because they came with a great solution and great topic and great people at a moment where we really needed to understand trade. We really needed to understand just a space that was changing all the time and it was so complex. So it was a no-brainer for us, not just because of the people, but also because of the space. But the most important thing that you said is like, who cares about AI? Hire lawyers, right? So hire a lot of lawyers. And Grant is one of those lawyers that you should definitely hire, right? So it's a perfect segue for Grant.
Yes, hello. I'm Grant Pollack. I'm a intellectual property law practitioner here in New York City for over 30 years. Traditionally, patents, trademarks, and copyrights. In recent years, more international trade, which is really an offshoot of the three. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, I just want to start the presentation if we could. Excellent. And basically, I'm calling this transforming AI into sustainable competitive advantage. But we're going to shift gears here and talk about AI and intellectual property considerations, and more from a standpoint not of technology, but of there we go. Thinking about the whole picture of AI and what it really is. Now, what is AI? We'll call it, for our purposes, a machine-equipped algorithm. And what we're usually talking about is generative AI. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's content generated by a machine-equipped algorithm. And in detail, it's a system that learns or is trainable based upon generative models and can generate more objects that look like the data it was trained on, or at least in theory. Now, here's the big question. You might think, why am I asking this? But is AI conscious? Think, oh, no, it can't be. Well, according to the AI pioneer, Jeffrey Hinton, existing AI systems are subjectively aware, not objectively, but subjectively. And this is really important to think about with the next question. If it's conscious, does it have rights? And this isn't just to be controversial or somewhat silly here. This really gets to the heart of legal rights, okay? And why legal rights may be important for AI, or maybe why we don't want them to have AI to have legal rights. We've dealt with that in the context of animals and all sorts of things, but artificial intelligence is a totally new thing with unique problems and issues. We said that AI is a machine equipped algorithm. Well, AI, or intellectual property, we'll say broadly from an international standpoint, is a creation of the mind. And when I say international, this is the WIPO definition. WIPO stands for World Intellectual Property Organization. And it's creations of the mind such as inventions, literary artistic works, et cetera, that are used in commerce. An invention, we'll refine all of this. An invention, what's an invention? People think, oh, it's an idea somebody came up with. No, not really. It's an idea that's been reduced to practice. It's been constructed virtually or as a prototype. The act of filing a patent application is a constructive reduction to practice. So consider that's what an invention really is. And what is a patent? Well, patent is a contract between the government and an inventor. Inventors traditionally are humans, right? And the human is given the right to exclude others, to make, use, sell, offer for sale, or import into the United States. Can AI be an inventor? Yes, it can. And this isn't talking about the statute, just defining an inventor as something that has conceived, come up with an idea, and reduced it to practice. And here we're probably talking about virtual, unless the AI system is hooked up to a 3D printer or something. You can print out a 3D model of something. But can AI be named as an inventor on a patent application or a patent? No. All right. This is why we go back to, AI. Should AI have rights? Well, if it can't be named as an inventor, what it develops can't be protected. Right. And say, why is AI back up here? Why can't it be named as an inventor? Or why not? Because it's not a natural person, and the law specifically requires a natural person. And this is a statement from a case, Thaler v. Vidal, a relatively recent case that basically said so. The federal court said so, that a patent or patent application can't list anything that is not a human as an inventor. And by the way, there's a similar case, Thaler versus the Commissioner of Copyrights, where it tried to do the same thing with copyrights. AI systems, including generative AI and other computational models, are tools. See, we're supposed to look at them as tools only. like scientific literature and other things. The tools do not qualify for elevate such assistance to inventor status. So we're trying to keep humans as supreme here. And by the way, just look at the footnote there, revised Patent Office guidelines. That's from this past November. This is very recent. And before these revisions, the Patent Office was leaving the door open a little bit with its guidelines for and using a legal analysis for AI as a co-inventor. That's gone now, all right? They've taken a hard line and they say, no, only humans, that's it. Again, only human contribution is recognized. And if a human didn't do it, it's not protectable. Or if a human didn't do enough of it. Here are some challenges, though, when you talk about AI rights. AI patentability challenges. Well, AI itself, okay, the machine-equipped algorithm, the algorithm itself is not patentable subject matter. When it is in a software form, it can be, but unfortunately, software patentability has been whittled away over the years. And there are a lot of obstacles. So it's not a sure thing. Could you possibly patent it? Yes. Could it be difficult? Yes. But that's as far as I can really go with that. Copyrights, very similar, analogous to patents. At least how the law deals with it, but a copyright quickly is legal right created by the law of a country that grants a creator of an original work exclusive rights for use and distribution. US has a little more refined, tech-savvy version of that. Original work of authorship fixed in tangible, in any tangible medium from which it can be perceived, reproduced, or communicated directly or with the aid of a machine. Here we go again. It's machines are tools, all right? Can AI be an author of a creative work? Yes, it can. But can it be named as an author or holder of a copyright? In other words, will it be recognized at law? No. And I say, at least for now, this is an evolving and exciting area of law. Again, AI must be a natural person under copyright law. And I love to throw in a little footnote here. This is a case about a monkey that I think it took a selfie or something. And I think the owner tried to enforce copyrights in a federal action for copyright infringement. And the court came and said, you lack standing because you're not a human. But there's a lot of the thought process in that case is what's being applied or will be applied to AI. And this is just a statutory basis for the copyrights. AI-generated content cannot generally be copyrighted because it isn't deemed to be the work of a human. What does this mean again? Human authorship is critical. Two caveats, and this applies really both to the patentability, to the act of invention and to the act of creating a work of authorship. Using AI doesn't preclude patent protection or copyright protection, provided that the primary inventor author is a human. It gets murky where a human and AI work together. And ultimately, the idea and originality must be from the human part. That's more or less where we're at right now. Now, next step, AI, again, a machine-equipped algorithm may belong to its creator, but who holds rights to what AI creates? The answer is nobody. Can't get a patent, can't be a copyright holder, okay? So how do you protect AI and what it creates? This is the challenge for companies. Contract provisions and licensing agreements. I always like to talk about maybe shrink wrap type of ideas, but it's online. trade secret law. And that's pretty much it right now. Quick note about trade secrets. Trade secrets are information that derive independent economic value from being not generally known or being secret, and being subject to efforts to maintain secrecy. And broadly speaking, any confidential business information that provides your company with a competitive edge can be considered a trade secret. A trade secret owner does not have an exclusive right to possess or use the secret information. This may seem a bit wonky here, but a trade secret owner is kind of like a patent owner. What a patent owner has is a right to exclude. They don't have a right to make. So a trade secret owner doesn't have a right to possess because someone else could independently develop or reverse engineer or whatever. However, what the law gives them is protection against wrongful acquisition, disclosure, or use of their trade secret. So they don't really own it, but they have a right of action if somebody takes it. Interesting. And kind of final things to think about here. Can AI, the work of AI, infringe a copyright? Pending litigation. Probably, but pending litigation. But one of the big issues is, who's the liable party? The copyright owner, or see, there's no copyright holder. There's no person. You can't sue AI. It's not a person, right? Or I guess corporations are people supposedly, but you can't sue AI. Same thing for patent infringement. If AI commits patent infringement, pending litigation on this. Can AI misappropriate a trade secret? Well, certainly use of AI by a human, that is a person using ChatGPT, can be a misappropriation. I think there's a big Samsung really got burned with that. Again, pending litigation. AI itself, can it misappropriate a trade secret? I say possibly, because AI could go online, hack into somebody's database, download the information, but who's the liable party? So we return to, does AI have rights? Answer is no. But stay tuned. Okay. Okay.
There we go. This is, I love this part of the conversation, because when we talk about using AI and AI for competitiveness and how is it that we're using it, we no longer think about it just as a tool. We don't think about it as just, hey, this is a software that we're using. We need to think about it differently, for sure. So I want to start getting you a little bit interested in questions, if you are, right? So, but before we do that, I do want to talk to Richard, and just one last question, and to Chansam as well. We talked about, and Grant really talked about, competition. Protection is a big part of that competition. And how do you see the U.S. generally in protection, in competition? What is the U.S. doing well? If there's some strengths that the U.S. has or that you've seen, and what are we doing wrong? Where do we need to put a little bit more attention?
All right. So Grant just talked. How can I answer that question? But this is what I think about the protection, about how you see AI. This is what I interpret. I don't have a kid, but you do have a kid. So do you want your kids to be smarter than you are? Or just like, no, not necessary. This is inevitable. I mean, it's coming. We have smartphone. Before, we don't have that. We have the launch machine. We do have the, everything. It becomes smarter and smarter. It's coming. So what we need to do is how to make it control. Regulation has to be in play. I mean, it has to be, make sure it's not like we don't know AI. It's more like, okay, we know some of that, and then we are starting to regulate this. So this is what I think about we need to starting right now. And I don't really see actually it's happening. The other idea is I do think the government has to take some way of leading of the AI. I can give the example about the FDA, what I feel about this. So all my research work and everything before is all about rare disease, pediatrics, movement disorder. That's my strength. And I went to the conference, and then they're talking about, hey, FDA, have you ever thinking about using your database, because you have so many, to try to do very simple thing, the repurposing your drug? And the FDA say the answer is, we are thinking about it. I'm like, repurposing is not even a new idea. So why they are still thinking about it right now? So that's why I'm thinking, when actually the government has such rich information, there can be example of leading the whole AI to help us to move to the next stage, because just like another industrial revolution, because all the human productivity is to move from one stage to another stage, because we want to save our time and our cost. Why? Because we want to free our hand. We thought we were going to be free our hand. After that, we can be relaxed and then sleep. But actually, no, because we can start dreaming something new, something innovative, something creative to the future world. So that's why I'm thinking this is not just the AI company has to start doing this work. I think definitely the regulations, the government has to be participate all together and have the conversation all together. This is my thought. Thank you.
Yeah, so fantastic, right? We're talking about obviously the great opportunity, but also the challenges of having a legal framework, which Grant obviously, talked about, but then also a policy framework where we can really take advantage of this and be prepared for this competition, because maybe other frameworks are not going to have the same type of rules and regulations. And if we have it the right way, then we can compete. And Chansam, for you, because you dive deep into using AI, right? So you were like, let's do it, right? Trade, we can do it. This is what we're going to do immediately. Why do you think it was so important for you to do that right now, right, for the US? And why is it so important for us to embrace it in spite of the crazy things that Grant told us about, right? In spite of not knowing if it has rights or not, in spite of not knowing if it's going to be someone that if what AI makes, we can actually claim as our own, right? So we don't know that. But why is it important for us to still dive deep into AI? What's important for the US to do it? Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Fernando. That's really great question. Before the starting, I actually agree with the Grant about that AI is not a really human thing right now. Especially somebody imagine the AI as how they call like an artificial general intelligence, that is AGI, probably already heard about. But that is actually, we imagine AI in our movie, like a Star Wars, Star Trek, something like that, in the like a sci-fi. But the AI in today is not that kind of some AI. It is just like some more helpful tool to help you like digesting existing some document, historical record, get some summary and get some insight from like a junior level of your employee, but not that high level of the like a senior level decision maker. Especially they does not have a like responsibility, in charge of responsibility to make some decision, something like that. So it is a little risky asking AI to make some decision on behalf of you. That's why also US have a regulation on the like some physicians on using the AI in the medical purpose or legal purpose. While we have a well-known AI company in the like Harvey in the legal and some medical treatment company, but they are actually supporting the people to like a industry expert to making decision easily by giving the data support. So meaning that the AI does not make some like a final decision, but they helping you to like leading the document on behalf of you, optimizing your time rather than spending like a whole weeks to leading all historical data. But especially in terms of trade right now. So not on the tariff thing is the biggest one. Actually, our company handling the tariffs, meaning that even the some change happen in the single day, we using our machine learning tool to digesting the new government regulation and calculating the new tariff ruling on your impact on your product. For example, yesterday your product arrived in New York City. It was around 10% duty, but today it could be 25%. Tomorrow, who knows, could be more lower or higher. But all these changes really hard to follow up, especially you handling the more countries. And if you see the global wise, like not only for the United States and the other country, you have so much of regulation across the world. So the AI itself cannot replace your decision maker, but you can ask AI to giving like your 10,000 different documentation you have, asking them, is there any probability you have there are some hidden risks existing? Also, whether there are some new changes in the regulation impacting on your business that could be impact. For example, like last week, U.S. administration released a new tariff, 25% of the steel, but whether it's actually impacting on your manufacturing place, how much composition you have of the steel, copper, or whether it come from the Canada and South Korea, whether there are a way to avoiding the tariffs. So, but meanwhile, about the regulation term, I mean the AI regulation. So US is a kind of AI friendly country compared to the many other OECD country like EU and maybe British, but still they have some limitation, meaning that it is not directly limitation on the AI regulation. Some in the some specific industry, for example, even the trade, like global trade, sometimes some specific workflow require the broker license to processing the specific trade compliance workflow. Also, in the legal perspective, they also require legal lawyer license to do that. So actually, the regulation is a good method to keeping the like employee and the keeping the expert like their job place and the getting more valued insight from the industrial specialist. But meanwhile, could be also a blocker to introduce the new workflow to optimizing your cost, especially United States spending more than around 10% of GDP, not 10%, 8.5% of GDP spent on the logistics. But logistics cost actually getting up, even though we introduced new robotics, new AI, but still have a many cost lost from the like labor shortage of labors and the complexity of the compliance workflow. Not only for the global trade, also sometimes interstate have some different regulation in this country. So all this kind of some complexity AI can help, but also it needs some government support to releasing some regulation to provide a service across the country.
So we could stay here talking a lot, but I want to leave some time for questions. So if any of you have some questions for these great panelists. I think they were all stunned with you, Graphen. No, there's a question over there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you do in terms of
All right. So so basically, I have to say this epic is already dominated. So we thinking about there's still other countries.
okay.
Yeah, there's still other country need the same. Oh, the question, I think the main question is that basically right now the healthcare system in the United States has the certain like kind of like patient management software is called Epic. Yeah, so that's right. No, so basically what we also answer that question. So is our healthcare system is like this. We want to do a streamlined process. Basically, we do have the patient side. You quickly, for example, you're using your mobile phone, and then you just say, hey, I have a certain system. Of course, we have the digital human to guide the question, just like the healthcare professional. And all your information get in there. And once you confirm, it directly go to the doctor's side. But you are going to see different view. The patient will see, you use your own language, but the doctor, healthcare professional, they have their standard, right? So once they get in there, before you go to the clinic, and the doctor already review everything process, and we also provide the diagnosis and also the treatment plan. So then we just need the doctor. That's how we say AI and also the human to work together. We want doctor to check if that is what you, and also the other thing is, we don't really rely on the information that you type it in, because what if there's some condition, the doctor say, hey, I need to touch your belly because I think you have the your pen right there. I need to see if any tumor or something like that. So that's really required. We want to have the whole scenario be solved by both AI and the human altogether to de-risk. And then when the doctor say, hey, you should do this, and I'm going to check on this and that, and all the document is generated, we want to free the hands and the mind just for doctor, because right now they spend too much time on writing the document. No, you won't get, no, good question.
Who's responsible here? Yeah.
We
want to try to get the doctor somehow, but I don't know. That's an open question. I think
okay.
It really is.
So at least from my end, we need human to make decision, right? Because like I said, we are okay. How about this? The idea is very simple. Why we want the AI to freeze your hand, and we want human can do best. What is the human can do best? Your life experience. That's what I'm doing. I have 30 years medical training, so I prove my experience. It's not really telling AI what you should do because of the algorithm. I'm telling them this is what I do to de-risk. So this is, I think human life experience is amazing. Everybody is in a different environment. This is what we can do best, not the AI. So we want both to work together. Okay.
Richard is responsible. Just anecdotally, what I would tell you just a little bit is we are seeing a lot of our digital health companies trying a lot of the interventions and their technologies outside of the United States. So not just in the United States. And I think that what they're understanding is that sometimes there are limitations, there's a lot of complications, and they're willing just to go abroad, and probably very interesting things are going to happen outside of the United States because of that.
Just one danger I see, and it's just not just in that context, but I can see as AI becomes more and more sophisticated, that professionals are going to defer to the judgment of AI and then end up being liable for what AI does. It's like being responsible for your employee, what your employer does, or the employee does. But that's a danger I see. Yeah.
Last question here, Matthew, because we have.
I think you kind of already started to address this. That is liable for. Sorry, Matthew Myers, and at the end of your presentation, you talked about whether can AI infringe on a copyright, a patent, and you said pending litigation. So were you inferring about an actual court case, meaning where the company is being sued? So yeah. Technically the corporation or the S corporation, CLLC, the board or someone physically is a part of that litigation, correct?
And the thing is that most of these cases that I looked up are still in the discovery phase. So they're but it sounds to me like, certainly they're trying to pin it on the corporation owner, the deep pocket. But I think a lot of neat stuff is going to come out of it, and a lot of guidance for other companies. But when I talk about having AI having rights, it's really to facilitate protection. But it gets complicated because let's say you come up with some genius AI thing that starts inventing all kinds of wild stuff, and it's all going to belong to the company. The company's going to be the assignee of everything that the AI invents, and it's all going to be patented. And is that a good thing? Is that a good policy? And I think people are debating that. I don't know. But it's all these things are hot topics for litigation, and the cases, again, from what I is deep as I dug into it, they seem to be moving along pretty slowly. But it's going to be quite interesting to see how they all turn out in the end. But Washington has been anti-AI, pro-human right, pro rights of humans, but I think the business side, and some of you guys can probably answer this much better than I can, but is it advantageous to a business to have AI have legal rights?
So with that big question, right? So I think perfect timing for that. Thank you so much. And